Let me ask you this. At this time in January of 2022, did your family have any pets?
Yes.
And how many pets did you have?
We had one. We had a dog.
What was the dog's name?
Chloe.
And what type of dog was it?
She's a German Shepherd mix.
And how long had you had the dog at that point?
About 6 years, I believe.
And do you recall sort of when you got the dog, how you got the dog, or where you got the dog from?
We got the dog from a shelter in Texas.
And what type of, so shelter, fair to say it's a rescue dog?
Yes.
And where did the dog typically go within the house?
It was when it was allowed anywhere in the house.
And as far as nighttime, would there be any sort of particular pattern of where the dog would sleep?
Yes, at nighttime when we went up to bed, it came up with us and it slept in our bedroom.
You testified that your German Shepherd, Chloe, was also at the house when you arrived home on January 29th, correct?
Yes.
She's a large German Shepherd.
Yep, about 70 pounds.
She's not great with strangers.
I wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't say that it's kind of a poorly worded question. Would you say that she's good with strangers?
I'd say she's fine with strangers.
Fine with strangers, okay.
Yep.
She's definitely not good with other animals, is she?
No, she did not like other dogs.
Chloe actually has a well-documented bite history, doesn't she?
Objection.
Does she?
With dogs. A couple dogs, yes.
Ms. Albert, she also has a bite history with humans, doesn't she?
Objection.
Ask that differently.
Ms. Albert, Chloe has injured other humans, hasn't she?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
In one incident in May of 22, when she got out and was fighting with another dog, the woman whose dog it was tried to break up the two dogs, and while she was trying to break up the two dogs, she got injured.
There are actually two individuals who were injured in that incident, correct?
Well, there was two women, but I believe just one woman, from what I understand, had an injury from Chloe. The other one may have fallen or something, but I'm not sure 100%.
There were two women who were actually taken to the hospital after that incident, correct?
Yes, a neighbor had called the police or called an ambulance just to make sure they were okay.
And you mentioned that Chloe had actually escaped from the backyard
Mm-hmm.
in that incident.
Yes.
And that happens from time to time at your house, correct?
It had happened a few times, yes.
And Mr. Albert let Chloe out when he arrived that night, correct?
Yep.
Ms. Albert, you don't have Chloe anymore, do you?
Nope.
In May of 2022, 4 months after Mr. O'Keefe's death, you got rid of your family dog of 6 years.
Objection.
Oh, is that true? Is that when you got rid of your dog?
I did not get rid of my dog. I rehomed my dog.
Your dog is no longer in the Canton area, correct?
No, but I know where she is. She's in Vermont. And that previous testimony, that information has all been given. So if she was ever needed for anything, we know where she is.
Ms. Albert, you're aware that we actually sought records regarding Chloe and her bite history, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to sustain the objection.
With regard to your dog, Chloe,
Mm-hmm.
following that incident in May of 2022, what, if anything, did you and your husband do with regard to the person that had been bitten?
Well, we had gone over to their house to apologize for what had happened and, offered to pay any bills, that they may have had for any injury to the dog or anything. And then after that, we just decided that we thought the best thing to do would be to try to rehome it because I just didn't want something like that to happen again.
And can you explain to the jury sort of what are the steps that you took in the process of rehoming your dog?
Well, initially I had called a bunch of shelters and they were pretty much telling me that it would be hard to rehome her. She was dog aggressive and they would probably have to put her down. I didn't want to do that. The family, we love the dog and So I did not want to do that. So I reached out to the woman in Texas who we got the dog from to see if she could help. And she said, she couldn't take it back, but she would try to help me out. So she ended up finding a woman who lived in Vermont. I think she lived alone. She had big property. It seemed like a good fit. She wanted to take Chloe, and we made arrangements. And I went and met this woman halfway, and I gave her Chloe.
And what, if any, conversations or contact have you had with that woman in Vermont since rehoming your dog?
For a few months after
Objection, Your Honor.
So not the substance of it, but
Have you had contact with the woman in Vermont?
Yes, I did for a few months, back and forth.
Now, with reference to Chloe, when your sister Jennifer McCabe comes into your bedroom hysterical that morning of January 29th, was Chloe in the room at the time?
Yes.